symposium, I think.
Can we do a hybrid with the board meets and then we video out the to the public?
I think that is a possibility. Yeah.
All right. And also, before we go public, this training here, do you need to have that training to stay on the board, or?
We are live actually.
Okay.
And we'll walk through that when we get to that.
We'll talk later.
Yep.
Nanette, where are we with our numbers right now?
Yes, I was just checking that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4. We need 2 more.
Okay,
Mac might be in late, right?
correct. Yep.
And Jeff is tentative.
What about Trustee McDonald?
She accepted, but I'm not seeing her yet. Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm. Oh, Mac is in and Janae. Okay.
Great.
Mhm.
Hey, Mac. Hey,
Hello.
Janae.
Hello.
Good evening, everybody. We do have a quorum, so I would like to call to order the Board of Trustees regular meeting of Monday, March 29th, 2021. Nanette, would you please call to order?
Yes, Mary Kate Murin,
Present.
Janae McDonald,
Present.
Elizabeth Bosito,
Present.
Alexander Anderson, Maurice Lindsay,
Present.
Vicky Kraus, Eric Hagopian, Bill Johnson,
Present.
Jeff Sattler, and Max Starks.
Present.
Great. Thank
So
you
yes,
so
6. Mhm.
Yes, thank you so much. Do I hear a motion to approve the meetings minutes of the regular meeting of February 22nd, 2021?
Madam Chairman, Bill Johnson, make a motion to approve the minutes. From
Do I hear a second?
I'll make a motion to second it. Betty?
Great. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, could we please take a roll to accept the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of February 22nd, 2021?
Yes, Mary Kate Murin,
Yes.
Janae McDonald,
Yes.
Elizabeth Bosito,
Yes.
Alexander Anderson, Maurice Lindsay,
Yes.
Vicky Kraus,
Yes.
Eric Hagopian, Bill Johnson,
Yes.
Jeff Sattler, and Max Starks.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
Motion carries. We're transitioning into the trustee committee reports. The Committee on Internal and External Relations that occurred on Monday, March 8th, 2021. Trustee McDonald?
One moment, just trying to pull down
Absolutely.
my notes here. So we started out the meeting with an update from the All Unit Congress. And they will now be incorporated into the internal external committee and potentially presenting to the general board as needed. We also received an update about the NETCHI accreditation and asking trustees to reserve time on their calendars for April 11th through the 14th. We also did receive some information from Dr. Cook, President's perspective. Excuse me, I'm missing one other department. We also received an update from Student Affairs regarding AIA, where I serve as a liaison for that, in addition to the MILD program, which the position is now posted for. So we're really excited about that as well. And the President's perspective, speaking about the All College Town Hall. We did not hear in that meeting from the internal external office around updates for the foundation. And that was about it.
Great. Do I hear a motion to accept the Committee on Internal and External Relations, that meeting that happened on Monday, March 8th, 2021?
Motion to accept.
Second, Bill Johnson.
And do I hear a second?
Second, Bill Johnson.
Lindsay, Maurice, I think that was you. That was the first.
Yes.
My apologies for not hearing you. Discussion. Hearing none, can we do the roll call to accept the Committee on Internal and External Relations Monday, March 8th, 2021 meeting minutes?
Yes, Mary Kate Murin,
Yes.
Janae McDonald,
Yes.
Elizabeth Esposito,
Yes.
Alexander Anderson, Maurice Lindsay,
Yes.
Vicky Krause,
Yes.
Eric Hagopian, Bill Johnson,
Yes.
Jeff Sattler, and Max Starks.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. And let us transition right into Committee on Ways and Means that occurred on Monday, March 15th, 2021. Trustee Starks?
Yes, Madam Chair, we started with a cash flow projection update where flows are expected or are as expected, I should say. The current balance at TD Bank is $9.9 million, which is much higher than normal, as the college recently received the first spring financial aid disbursement, which brought in $4.8 million. We then had a fiscal year 2021 revenue and spending report through February 21 discussion. And the current forecast shows revenue exceeding expenses by a little under $2 million for the year, which is a good spot. We then moved to a fiscal year 2021 facilities project report where $838,000 has been spent to date, and we expect to spend an additional $2 million in the fiscal year. We finished with a fiscal year 2022 budget discussion, reviewing two versions of the first draft. The first draft was with COVID funding, shows a deficit of $800,000, whereas the version without COVID funding shows a $4.9 million deficit. So obviously a big difference between the two. Again, this is just the first draft. We also discussed fiscal year 2022 facilities and capital projects and left that discussion with multiple questions to be addressed in the next draft, which is to be expected. We rounded out the meeting with a discussion on the discontinued automotive and cosmetology programs, and the committee discussed next steps for both programs, including a desire to have an independent review of each, the methods of achieving the goal, and how to possibly follow up with legal counsel on the process. I know that Trustee Krause is going to follow up on that. We then adjourned the meeting, and our next meeting is April 12th at 5 p.m.
Great, thank you so much. Do I hear a motion to accept the Committee on Ways and Means meeting minutes of Monday, March 15th, 2021?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Great. Discussion. Hearing none, could we call the roll to accept the Committee on Ways and Means Monday, March 15th, 2021 meeting minutes?
Yes, Mary Kate Murin,
Yes.
Janae McDonald,
Yes.
Elizabeth Bosito,
Yes.
Alexander Anderson, Maurice Lindsay,
Yes.
Vicky Krause,
Yes.
Eric Hagopian,
Yes.
Bill Johnson,
Yes.
Jeff Sattler, and Max Starks.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. We're going to transition right into old business and the trustee training cycle sessions of cycle 3.
Real brief, Madam Chair, just as a prompt to trustees, we are sort of compelled, if you will, to remind everyone that these are mandatory and required. So for current trustees appointed prior to October of last year, the language says the training must be completed no later than November 1st. And then for those appointed after October 20th, it must be completed within 6 months. So Nanette can certainly work with individuals offline to try to work that in, but we're coming to what we know to be the sort of last of the cycles. So we want to be sure that you have that notice and awareness. And again, any questions around that, certainly Nanette and myself, we can help with that. And again, unfortunately, that is a new sort of legislated mandate, if you will, that's required. I wanted to just check and see if there are any questions about that.
And I'd like to, Nanette, just to thank you publicly, because I know that you are putting these all on the calendars of the trustees and where to access it. So I really appreciate that because I have it on 3 different calendars. So I appreciate that gentle reminder and nudges that you are giving me. So if anyone is having any challenges accessing the Blackboard from the state, get to Nanette. We'll help a little bit more. But we are going into cycle 3. I know I have a couple more to do. And I'm sure we can help track for anyone else. We do have some overachievers. Trustee Lindsay, I think you finished first and got it all done in cycle 1. That's the only one I know about, but thank you so much for doing that. So a new business, Dr. Cook, to recognize Trustee Eric Hagopian of his 10 years of service.
This one is truly bittersweet, and it pains me that we have to do this virtually and remote this way. Eric has been a stalwart, right? Like 10 years, a decade of service to this wonderful institution that I know he loves and that has just such a deep understanding given his family's background, quite frankly, for decades in the area of manufacturing. Eric, I just want to say myself personally and professionally, thank you so much. I don't know where the 5 years went and how quickly that has transpired, but from day one, you were so welcoming, and the college is that much better off for your 10 years of just encouragement to continue to sort of push and evolve and innovate. As a small sidebar, everyone, and to the public, I had a chance to see Eric sort of living his own invitation. I went to, before it opened, his new, it's hard to call it a factory, Eric, but his new sort of place of work where he put all this technology into the manufacturing facility. And I think it's South Deerfield, Eric.
Yes.
A stunning sort of view on what contemporary manufacturing looks like. It's like a high-end lab. That's why I'm hard pressed to sort of come up with a better adjective to describe it. So he knows what currency and cutting edge and keeping up with the industry really looks like because he drives that forward. So again, just wanted to take the time. I'm so glad you could join us, Eric, as you term off the board this month. Thank you so much.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure and privilege, frankly, to be affiliated with all you folks. And thank you for the kind words, John, about my business. I've worked pretty hard over the last 5 years almost, and I would be happy to welcome any of the trustees or anybody from the college that would like to come and tour the factory or lab, as you call it, John. I like that. But in any event, STIC has been a big part of my business career, and we've hired a lot of graduates from the college, and we've sent a lot of our employees over the years to stick for different courses, and without the college, quite frankly, a lot of these companies there'd be a big deficit of skilled labor in lots of different areas. So it's been my privilege and honor, as again I've said, to have served the board for 10 years. It's just hard to believe it's been 10 years. I think I had hair. If I look at the picture in the lobby, I think I had hair even. And I didn't wear glasses, so wow, things have changed.
Yeah, and thank you again, Eric. I can't thank you enough for just welcoming me a few years ago, and just always being there and answering phone calls and stuff. And I appreciate that. And my hair never used to be this gray, and it's only been a couple of years. So really do appreciate it. And, if I could too, Eric, is, he sent a really great, wonderful email. And Eric does says, I hold a special place in my heart for STC and wonderful things it does for the community. And he has offered his assistance and available as an advisor. And I know that he is one who will answer our phone. So thank you so
Anytime.
much. Eric, really appreciate you and all that, what you've given to the college. Can't say enough of
Good
great
work.
things.
Yep, thanks.
Thank you, Eric. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Eric.
Likewise.
Thanks, Eric. And I'm going to take you up on that tour because
Okay, great.
My dad was, as we always called him, Andy the toolmaker. So.
Well, one of the things that makes Stick special to me is that when my family emigrated here from Armenia in the early 1900s, and my grandfather's job at one point was he was the head toolmaker at the Springfield Armory, and so that building is quite special to me and to my family, and frankly, it's as the head toolmaker in the 1930s and 40s. That was the impetus behind him starting his own business after the Second World War. United States involvement in the Second World War in 1941. So that's when Hoppy Tools started, and so that's the genesis of our family business, frankly, coming right out of the Springfield Armory. So anyway, there's just a lot of good reasons why Stick is fabulous.
We'll definitely give you that call so we can have that in-person drink. We'll do that offline too, okay?
Sounds good.
And Keith, I'll need you to just delete that from the record for us. So I'd like to transition right into the president's perspective.
Thank you again, everyone. Good to be with you virtually. I hope when you came on, trustees and others were smiling. You didn't miss a memo, but you did get an email from Nanette. You too can have this background if you'd like. We're a year into this pandemic, and clearly we are branding ourselves right up. It's been nice to see. I think it's gone over well, and clearly a very dramatic sort of backdrop. We've also been asked to have some of these in place, I believe, by NECHI. I think they like to see a certain level of continuity. So we'll see, but it is a nice touch. I certainly in my community meetings have seen a response to it as well. So I just wanted to give a quick mention. My appreciation to our marketing folks, Denise Hurst, her team, Keith Paul, Carrie Ferrero, who helped design that logo a number of years back. Very well received. A few other areas to touch on. I joined our campus repopulation work group this past Friday. Again, that's that forum that has been in place for about a year now, really helping provide a venue to discuss how we're operating now, how we are going to try to operate in the future. We are hopeful that come the third week of April, I want to say it's April 19th, anyone in Massachusetts 16 or older will become eligible for the vaccine. That means a great deal to us. We certainly have employees and even some students who have been eligible on some of the sort of age and health related elements, but this really allows the door hopefully to be thrown open, and we're hoping the vaccine is available right there behind it. That really will have implications on our efforts to plan for what we hope to be a robust fall semester and one that brings us back on campus to the extent that that's possible. So we are really trying to sort of navigate all these concurrently. So what does check-in look like now could look very different or frankly very similar to check-in protocol for campus in the fall. What about cleaning and the expenses and staffing around that? How does that look now? Might look very different in the fall. And also social distancing. Right now, despite if you go to restaurants, you'll see what seems like almost no social distancing. When you come to campus, we are actually still obligated to have 6 feet of social distancing, and that is actually even different than the 3 feet that K-12 enjoys right now. So all these regulations and implications we are trying to navigate. And so that was part of my conversation with the Campus Repopulating Committee, including things like events, pinning ceremonies. I know Trustee-elect Exposito, this is near and dear to your heart. Pinning ceremonies with trustee involvement really come in earnest in June. And we are hoping to see if there's a way for us to almost sort of pilot an event like that back on campus. But again, there's a lot of protocols we have to work through, social distancing we probably have to navigate, all those things to continue to help make sure that the safety and well-being of folks is ensured. Through March, a data point, we have conducted about 2,400 COVID tests on campus. Might seem like a modest amount. It's about an average of 335 a month, but I can assure you that's been a lifeline to our health programs. Having that level of availability and continuity has provided nursing programs, medical assisting, occupational therapy assistant, physical therapy assistant, the students and the faculty in these programs a regular COVID test, which has allowed them regular access then to their clinicals in those community environments. And so that's been a really important thing for us. Vitally to note as well, of those COVID tests, we're running a less than 1% positive rate on those as well. So again, we see encouragement both with our ability to provide testing and this sort of relative lack of positivity transmission, if you will, that's happening on campus because of that. Switching gears, this is budget time for us. As Trustee Starks noted, we are into it earnestly with our first draft. Nanette's got that up on the screen. A really good first full good faith effort on the first draft. What it does not include are American Rescue Fund plans. Those are the most recent federal dollars available. And one thing to think about as I sort of want to touch on some of the assumptions that we're working through is that with this federal money, it will really be helpful for us. We can point to something tangible, ideally something capital, that we can utilize these federal funds for. Obviously, we're needing it to sort of underwrite losses, enrollment declines, some of those types of things. But I think the hope for us as an institution is we can kind of point to that and say that's where that Fed money really helped us out. And so we'll be talking more about that in the upcoming drafts of Ways and Means. But some of the assumptions, just note, is that there is a fee freeze for students that is in the assumptions right now. And if you've seen the landscape around us, a number of colleges are doing that. Also, on some of the slides that these come from our CFO, Andrea Nathanson, what you'll see is that we're anticipating flat state support for that appropriation, some needed IT investments, especially with that IT master plan that we have and trying to sort of do well by the budgeting of it, and certainly some facilities projects, and we're talking a great deal about that. Right now, sort of to toggle between the fiscal years, typically if and when we're able to sort of beat projections and have a surplus at this point in the year, we actually start to look at the requests for next year and start to try to build them in. So for example, the School of Health, think about those patient simulators and their equipment that can be pretty expensive. We often get hundreds of thousands of dollars of requests in a given budget year for those. And those aren't nice to have. So those are really fundamental to those programs, ensuring that they are industry current. To the extent that we can pay for some of those this year is always a helpful practice. And so we'll be trying to talk and toggle between those and working through that with Ways and Means. So again, next month, April, another important budget planning month. Ways and Means will see draft number 2 in there. And we'll see again how things play out for May, where in the past we have often sought final budget approval from trustees. Gives us a month to spare, if you will, coming up against the fiscal year. My last point for everyone is NECHI, New England Commission on Higher Education. I feel like we've been talking about this for years. In fact, we've been planning for this for years. I had to write down, I'm a little stunned, we're less than 2 weeks away from something that only happens once every decade. A pretty significant accomplishment just from a process standpoint to navigate ourselves, develop a self-study. The Board of Trustees endorsed that good work. And again, we will be welcoming that visiting team from NETCHI who's going to come. And really, their big point is that they're going to look and see, what have you said about yourselves? How have you assessed what you're trying to work on, and what are the areas to improve? So really thrilled that we'll be able to have a conversation where we can talk about the good work that's been done over the last 5 years in particular, from when we issued a sort of mid-decade report to them. So looking forward to that. And then obviously what will follow will be some really helpful sort of guidance, and for us in particular, a springboard to strategic planning that would start later in the fall. So those are updates and perspective. Happy to take questions from anyone.
Questions for Dr. Cook? Well, let me transition into my report and see if there's additional questions that come that way. A couple of highlights, and just for the other trustees to know. The Board of Higher Education will be looking for a segmental representatives from community colleges, and our very own Trustee McDonald is up for that spot. And what this is basically is just a liaison with the community colleges to the Board of Higher Education. So really excited. Of course, all of the board chairs vote on this. So I think we're pretty clear of where the support of our institution will lie. So that conversation and that vote happens later this week. And so Trustee McDonald, really good luck with that. Really rooting for you, because we'd like to see this part of the Commonwealth represented, instead of it all just being the eastern part of the Commonwealth. So really looking forward to that. And then, as Dr. Cook already mentioned, NETCHI is during the Ways and Means meeting in April, and that's the 12th. All trustees will be invited to attend that meeting, because the visiting team will be also there to ask questions of the visiting team. And just as a reminder, this isn't really a pass-fail to steal from higher education, but it really is to assess what we wrote in our plan. And to let the visiting team know of our commitments towards as trustees, and in partnership with the faculty, staff, and of course our priority of the students for the accreditation. So really looking forward to that. We'll make sure it's on everyone's calendar to attend that meeting in April, and it's on the 12th. Of course, we are, and the administration with faculty and staff, start to plan for the fall. So excited. I think you're all hearing the good news about vaccinations. I got my first one last week, so really excited about that. I think it really, I know, right? Good for you. It really, it's one, maybe one linchpin of many that will hopefully swing back this pendulum. Because we all know why we are part of this board, part of this institution, because it's for our students. We need them to stay at the college. We need them to graduate. And, we need to continue to be focused in on those really high priorities. And so I think I am excited about, as the administration starts to plan for the fall, and I can't believe it's almost April. Time flies, as we've mentioned earlier. We hopefully too, with Trustee Starks and what comes out of Ways and Means, historically, we've tried to have potential approval of the budget in the May meeting. That of course would be the goal. There's a lot of hard work that needs to be done from the administration perspective, and that would be in May on the 24th. So unless I hear differently, Trustee Starks, that's of course, will come out of your committee, but really looking forward to that kind of typical scheduling so we can all be prepared and set ourselves up for success for the fall. And I think one of the biggest things that remains within that budget is our facilities and capital projects. We've been talking a lot about these. There needs to be a lot more diving in, seeing what is needed, because I think we all are aware, and Eric, you probably will agree with this, is that when you're not in buildings, not using machines and not using resources, it takes much more time, energy, and financial resources to get them going in working order. And I think that's going to be a priority of the administration, the faculty, staff, as we set ourselves up for success for next fall. So a lot going on, especially in this next month or two as we finalize the budget, which is of course a priority, and also our NETCHI visiting team meeting. So really, really looking forward to that. So I'm going to pause too to see if there's any additional questions or comments from my report or from Dr. Cook's.
Brief dovetail as people sort of contemplate or ask questions. I left off and I had even prompts on the agenda for myself. On program reinstatement, given its sort of germaneness to budget and considerations, we do have formal approval from the Department of Higher Education for reinstatement for all 5. We'll provide a very robust update on where we are with that effort, with things like faculty recall, marketing investments, things like that. We'll provide that at the April full board meeting. So so do look ahead to that. Also, I buried my lead. Stunningly, shockingly, if you saw the email, we were ranked, according to this one entity, the 4th most sort of transformative community college out of over 800 across the United States. I can't believe I forgot to mention that. Pretty incredible to sort of land in the top 5 that way. And we're going to put it on billboards. The billboard that we have on I-91 South, the one out 391 in Chicopee, we're gonna tout that and let people know how proud they can be of that kind of sort of mission, if you will, and the way it's been received. So sorry to encroach, Madam Chair, but wanted to make sure those 2 points got mentioned.
No, not at all. I appreciate that. And I know it can happen on Mondays, right? I think we all get there. Great. Hearing no comments, the date of our next board meeting is Monday, April 26th. Just remember, everyone, please hit your calendars for Ways and Means on the 12th of April. And Nanette, I'm sure we'll send out an invitation just to click that off. One last reminder about the required trainings. And we'll make sure that we do a quick audit so no one falls behind. And I'll speak for myself, I'm a little bit behind. So I will be attending a lot of those cycle 3s. So hearing no questions or comments, do I hear a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting?
So moved.
Bill Johnson, second.
Second, Max Starks.
Great. Discussion? I don't think there's going to be any. So Nanette, would you do a roll call, please?
Yes. Mary Kate Murin,
Yes.
Janae McDonald,
Yes.
Elizabeth Posito,
Yes.
Alexander Anderson, Maurice Lindsay,
Yes.
Vicky Krause,
Yes.
Erica Gopian,
Yeah.
Bill Johnson,
Yes.
Jeff Sattler, and Max Starks.
Yes.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have great nights. Get outside. The sun is out, and we'll talk real soon.
Take
You
care,
too.
everybody.
Thanks.